Oh, good morning, everybody. My thought for you that I've been playing with this week, since this was, the week following, we're in between Jewish holidays, turning of the year, and then we're also just past the equinox. And on that day, the 21st, equinox is actually the 22nd, but the 21st in September is considered the International Day of Peace. All right, so we're still sort of riding that energy, because I always say that, if we pick one day for something like that, then we're really doing ourselves an injustice, right? That's something that we should be remembering every day to the best of our ability. And so what I've been saying is that, what we choose to do and to embody these ideas of the yogic principles or the yogic lifestyle is incredibly important, even more so now, right? Because we've heard these things over and over, right? The idea that you are holding peace, or that you're cultivating peace, or that you are trying to maintain or create peace in the world. But what does it actually mean, right? And so we find the little ways that it makes sense in our own lives to promote that idea, to say, how am I creating peace in my own life? And then there's also the sort of bigger picture of how you are really embodying the concept that there may be a time where you don't have to just wish for there to be peace, but you can actually be it, right? So that point where you're not just trying to cultivate something that's out there in the future, but actually living it in this moment to the best of your ability, right? And so we have one of the definitions of yoga that, has come out of study of the Bhagavad Gita, is that yoga is perfection in action, right? So what does that mean? It doesn't mean doing everything perfectly, but it means that there is a perfection to what you are already, right? That there's a perfection to who you are, that you're not in this world to try to improve upon yourself, right? That concept of self-improvement. The yogic self, capital S, is already complete. There's nothing that needs to be changed there. But our minds don't realize that completeness, right? So it acts in confusing ways, or ways that are confused. So the idea is that there's this perfection that says that everything is as it needs to be, not always as we like it to be, but as it needs to be. And that if we're acting from this understanding that there's already a completeness to ourselves, there's already a completeness to others, there's already a completeness that exists, right? That we're not just improving upon what's in front of us, is we're trying to just organize ourselves with it so that there is that peaceful relationship, right? So that we're actually taking what can be this contention and we're making it something that is beneficial for both sides, all sides, right? So the perfection in action is that we act in a way that says that because everything is already, the basic parts of what needs to be there is already there, the way that I act, right, is what matters more than what I do. Does that make sense? The way that I act, the way that I am in the world matters more than what I physically actually do, right? Because if what we're doing is always looking for the best outcome for every party, every being, and even to some extent, yoga says this is what it means to be selfless, right? That it's not even the way I want it to be. That if I'm looking for the absolute best outcome in the way that I act, the way that I hold myself, the way that I respond to what's in front of me, right? If I'm doing that with no thought to, I want it to end up this way, then that completeness starts to organically create itself, or it starts to organize itself in the best possible way. And that creates peace, right? It creates peace because it's not us in contention with what's in front of us, yeah? So this concept of yoga being perfection in action is that you're taking the awareness of there being a completeness in yourself, a completeness in others. You're not trying to change them. You're not trying to change you, right? But you're trying to touch that feeling that there's a wholeness. And then if you act from there without trying to get things, right? That's the key. Without trying to get something specific, is that that peacefulness starts to organically arise, right? It's not something you have to make happen in the world. Yeah. So comfortable seat if you're not there already. And let the eyes close. And so all of this has just been my feeling that, whatever our habits have become, that we say, this is the way that I have decided, because most of us have been practicing for a while, this is the way that I've decided that I am acting out this desire for peace in the world, is we find what fits into our busy lifestyle. And then sometimes it's necessary to ask yourself to go above and beyond that. Right? Not just what has become your comfortable thought pattern, not just what has become your comfortable concepts of how you're creating peace, but that physical, deeply felt, personal embodiment. How are you doing that? So with the eyes closed, I want you to breathe a little deeper. And of course, the mantra that goes so beautifully with this whole concept, right, of peace is Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu. May all beings be peaceful, be happy, and be free from suffering. And may my life be dedicated to that reality, not to achieving that goal, but to that being the reality, so that there comes a time when there is never a point where someone needs to wish for peace. That's what we're holding, is that desire for there to be a time when nobody needs to ask for it, dream for it, wish for it, because it is the reality. And can I create it? Can I dedicate my life to creating that world for you? I will benefit also, but can I create it because you, whoever the you is, deserves that peace? Breathe very deeply. A concept of selfless action. I give away my own personal desire. I reach for that much bigger energy of connection. If I create that peaceful world for you, I will benefit also. But if I don't make that world peaceful for you, and it's only peaceful for me, then we'll both continue to suffer. And how do we give up that personal desire? You realize you are already complete. Those desires will not improve upon you. Deep breaths. And then start to gently bring the chin down towards your chest. And roll the head from side to side. So not even full circles, just bringing your right ear towards your right shoulder, and then dropping the chin back to the center. And then bringing the left ear up to the left shoulder and dropping the chin back down. And do that a couple more times, reaching the right ear to the right shoulder and back to center, left ear to the left shoulder. Good. And then the next time the right ear comes to the right shoulder, pause there, stretch your left hand out and down to the floor. So outside your left hip, reach your left fingertips down to the floor. Good. And really press into your fingertips so that you're extending that shoulder away from your ear. Good. And then releasing the chin back towards center, release that hand, bring the left ear to the left shoulder, reach the right arm out, fingertips touch the floor. And again, that's there so that you have something to push into. So push into those fingertips. So again, you're extending that right shoulder away from the ear as you let the weight of the head drop your left ear towards your left shoulder. Good. And then come back up to center, please. Inhale, both arms up to the sky. Good. Interlace your fingers, press heels of the hands straight up. Pull through your ribs, pull through your spine, press your seat down. And then as you're pushing up, push the crown of your head up. Good. And draw your armpits down so you bring the shoulders wide away from the ears. Beautiful. And then fold the hands together. Bring the hands straight down the center line to the heart. Good. We'll open with the sound of Om. Deep breath in. And let the eyes float open. Nice, you guys. Sweep the arms up alongside the ears again. Stay seated. Good. Come into spinal twist. So take the right hand to the outside of your left knee, please. Yep, left hand behind you. Good. So right hand to left knee. That's it. Good. Draw the belly in, please. And then as you exhale again, drag that hand back against your knee. So you're pulling the right arm in and twist the ribs just a little bit deeper. Good. And then keep that right hand where it is. Float the left fingertips off the floor and then lean over the right thigh. So lean towards the upper right hand corner, stretching the left arm over the ear. Good. Still keeping the low rib cage in so that you're bringing all of the energy into the back of the body. You're bringing all of the expansion into the back of the body. Draw your ribs in. Good. And then rotate your shoulders open a little more. Head stays neutral with the spine. You don't even have to look up. Good. So Elizabeth, switch your hands, right hand to left knee. There you go. And then take the other hand off of the floor. Yeah, and lean towards the front of your mat over the other thigh. There you go. Good, you guys. And then as you come back to center, cross your left arm in front of you. So both arms are across, reaching for opposite knees. Drop your chin towards your chest. Round into your back. Drop the chin. And again, holding the legs. So press your hands into the legs. Good. Round your back even more. Pull your ribs back. And then really draw those shoulders down and away from your ears. Good. So you're getting broader through that space across the tops of your shoulders. Awesome. And then release, come all the way back to center. Inhale the arms up to the sky. Twist the other way. Left hand to outer right knee. Right hand comes behind you. Good. So you find the twist first, again, the initial twist. And then as you breathe a little deeper, inhale, lengthen your spine. As you exhale, draw the front rib cage in and use that left hand, bend the elbow a little bit. So you drag that arm up into the shoulder and move the ribs a little wider to the right. And again, you're dropping into your sit bones. So don't bring your weight forward into the twist. Keep your seat settled. Good. And then keep that left hand where it is. Take the right arm up alongside your ear. And then you're leaning towards that left thigh. So you're leaning on the diagonal. Good. But same thing. Keep your low rib cage in. Expand through the back of your body. Draw the throat back. Keep your seat settled. Good. Nice, you guys. And then as you come back to center, cross both arms in front of you, drop the chin towards your chest, round your back. And again, hug those hands against your knees and really pull back through the lower rib cage, like you're doing cat, from cat and cow, round, round, round. And then draw those shoulders wide away from your ears. Lift the back of your throat, so chin is still dropped, but pull the back of the throat up like a little mama cat is pulling on the nape of your neck. Good. And then slowly release, please. Nice job, you guys. Roll forward onto hands and knees. Good. And then bring your weight slightly forward, so like you're in a modified plank pose. So your weight is coming towards the front end of your kneecaps. So your legs should be slightly more straight than they are bent. So like you're about to press up into plank. Good. And then bend your elbows out wide. Yeah. And as your elbows bend wide, yep, scoop the low belly, draw your low rib cage in. Nice. And then hug those upper arms towards each other. Bring the elbows to point towards the back of your mat. Lift those collarbones just a little more. And then lift the space of your low belly, the top of your pelvis up. Good. And then push forward through the top of your head. Yeah, back of the throat, nice and lifted. Good. And then toes are tucked. Lift your knees. Come into that full plank pose. Push those arms to straight. Good. Without dropping the belly, without collapsing the shoulder blades, without dropping your head, lift the back of the head. Nice. Elizabeth, lift the back of the head a little more and then kick the tops of your thighs up more. Yes. There you go. Squeeze your hands towards your feet, you guys. Roll your weight forward just a little bit more. Press towards the top of your mat. Awesome. And then from your navel, lift your hips. Press back, downward facing dog. So pull up. Good. And keep that wideness between the shoulders and the ears. So even though you are pressing down into your hands, drag your armpits towards your hips and push through the top of your head. Good. Nice, you guys. And then step the right foot forward between the hands, please. Good. Drop the back heel to 45 degrees, warrior one. So you can step that foot a little wider to the left if you need. And then inhale both arms to the sky. Good. Top of the right hip moves back and in. So the left hip is spinning forward. Nice, you guys. Beautiful. Straighten the front thigh for a moment. So you take all your weight into that back thigh. So you can really set the pelvis here. So Lisa, draw that left hip forward more. There you go. Yeah, so hips facing straight ahead. Lift through that front edge of your pelvis. Drop the tail. Good. And then keep that. Bend the front knee again as you draw the inner thigh of that back leg back and up. So you're widening the inner thighs. That's it. Good. You guys take the hands back behind you. Interlace the fingers at the low back. Good. Elbows bent. Pull your armpits up. Squeeze the upper arms towards each other. Beautiful. And then bow inside that front thigh. Take the arms straight first. So reaching just long, armpits pull forward. Good. And then as you bow a little deeper, maybe the arms come up and over. Maybe they stay just in that reached long extended position. Good. So it's not important how high they come up. What matters is how integrated the arms are with the upper body. So if your elbows are locked here and have gone backwards, because some of our elbows hyperextend that way, bend your elbows again. If you can't bend your elbows in this position, you're in trouble. Good. I want you to feel it in your upper back and shoulders. That's it. And then release the hands down to the floor. Good. If that was frustrating, that's normal. Both hands to the inside of the front foot, please. Spin your back heel up. Yep, and then make nice big circles with that front hip. Good. Nice, you guys. Move the pelvis. Good. The idea of the selfless act always sounds like it is an impossible thing to do something with no expectation of return, with no expectation of recognition. But all it means is that everything that you do becomes an act of love. Come back to neutral, please. Left hand plants, right arm to the sky, spinal twist, open up. Good. Scoop your belly, send that right knee forward more and kick your left thigh up higher. Yeah. And then release that right hand down to the floor, please. Step back, plank pose. Right, an act of love that says that what I do to create a peaceful world is not for my benefit. It's so that no one, including myself, has to wish for it anymore. Lower down slow, coming through knees first if you need. Good. Point the toes back behind you. Walk your hands wide off of your mat. So cobra position, but wide-armed cobra. Come up onto your fingertips, lift the elbows up towards the ceiling, and then pressing into your fingertips, pressing into the tops of the thighs, lift up head, neck, and chest. Good. And keep that feeling that you are rotating the elbows forward so that that front of the shoulder joint stays really open. And then as you lift your chest up, look towards your belly button. So drop your chin, pull your low ribs back. Good. And then squeeze those lower armpits. So the elbows aren't going to roll in, but your armpits are going to squeeze. And then lift your throat again. Find that lift of the upper chest. Push down through your legs. Good. Keep the chin level, though. The more you keep the chin level, the less strain there is at the neck. Really nice, Dana. And then release back down, please. Good. Forehead to the floor. Stretch your arms straight forward. Yeah. So a little crossbody action, you're going to lift your right leg and your left arm at the same time, like you're doing half locust. So right leg, left arm lifts up, and then release that and do the opposite, left leg and right arm. Good. And then release and do it again, opposite side, switching. Good. Remember, you are reaching from your inner thigh. So if your knees are bending, good, you're missing something, right? Reach from the inner thigh and extend from your armpit, right, or your shoulder all the way to that opposite hip. Even better, from your wrist all the way to the opposite heel. Connected. Good. Keep using your breath. So you're lifting on the inhale, releasing on the exhale. Nice, you guys. Good. Beautiful. And the repetitive actions, the repetitive ways that you interact in the world, very important. Right? So there's the little things that we do that create a foundation for peace in our own lives. And then there's the opportunities where we are expanding that awareness to say, I'm doing this not for my benefit, I'm doing it for you. And that doesn't mean that I'm doing it for you as long as you are the way I want you to be. I'm doing it because I hold to that deeply held belief that you deserve it, even if you are a way that is annoying. Good. Next time you breathe in, lift both legs, lift both arms, whole body. Good. Keep the chin neutral. Funny that as soon as you lift everything, right, you have to tilt your chin up. No, you don't. Neutral. Gaze down. Lift through the back of your throat. Good. and then release. Nice job, you guys. Walk the hands back, press up to hands and knees. And then find your way back to that modified plank. So move your weight of your armpits forward a little bit more over the wrists. Good, so you're still on your knees, but now your thighs, your hips have moved forward a little bit in front of your knees. Toes can be tucked. Bend your elbows wide, like you're doing a little modified push-up. As your elbows go wide. So Alice, I would take your hands just a tiny bit wider. Looks like you're a little, yeah. Bend your elbows out wide. Good. And then again, practice that pushing through the crown of your head and drawing those arms, the elbows towards each other as you pull your low rib cage up, as you pull the tops of your thighs up. Good. Yeah, low ribs in. Nice, you guys. And then start to push the arms to straight, tuck the toes, lift your hips as well, come into that full plank, lifting from your inner thighs. So that same feeling that you had, right? Lifting through the legs, lifting through the upper body, you got to do it here. So pull your low rib cage in, pull the tops of your thighs up, roll your weight forward, push through the crown of your head, pull those inner thighs higher, you guys. Inner thighs higher, 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 higher. Good. Nice. And then butt to the sky, downward facing dog. Good. Pulling the armpits towards your hips, pressing the crown of your head towards your thumbs. Nice, you guys. Left foot steps forward between the hands. Back heel comes to 45 degrees, warrior one. Again, you can step that foot a little wider to the right if you need. Take the arms up. That you have to twist. So that inner thigh of the back leg spins up. Good. Nice. Straighten that front thigh for a moment, you guys, so you can take all of the weight towards that back leg so you can really feel you're pulling back the top of that left hip and thigh. Right hip spins forward. Good. Do it a lot, even more. Good. More, Harriet. Nice. Then once you've found that orientation with your hips, again, you're lifting the front edge of your pelvic bones, lifting through your ribs, then bend the front knee back into the lunge and keep the inner thigh of the back leg really pulling up and back. So you have this widening of the thighs. Good. A constant expansion. And at the same time, your feet are squeezing together. Beautiful. Take the hands back behind you, interlace the fingers at the low spine. Good. Shrug the armpits up, shoulders up, and then hug the upper arms towards each other. And then start to bow forward inside that front thigh. And as you do, start to straighten the arms first and notice that point where you want to lock into your elbows and maybe your forearms turn up because your elbows twist that way. Don't let them. Keep your wrists facing each other. Keep your elbows slightly bent. Keep the effort, the energy in the upper back, and then bow a little deeper. Right? Going above and beyond what is your normal feeling of this is enough for me to cultivate that idea of peace. It's my habit. Yes, of course I believe in peace, but I don't want to change this. Of course I believe in that, but I'm still going to keep doing this to myself. Release the hands down to the floor. Good job. Good. Spin that back heel up, please. Both hands inside the front foot. Make big circles with that front hip. Yeah. And that's the thing, right? Is we have integrated, or what we do is we integrate all of these yogic principles into the life that we're already living. We don't necessarily let it be something that changes the way that we live our life in any big, significant way. Sometimes we do. And then once we get kind of comfortable, we say, all right, this is the place that this idea has in my life. So for a moment, in these coming days, weeks, months, can you consider that you can go above and beyond that? Come back to stillness, please. Right hand plants left arm to the sky. So of course, this week I've been teaching longer sequences so that you remind yourself that you can go above and beyond, that you're not as tired as you think you are. You're just used to using that as an excuse. Me too. Release that hand down to the floor, please. Nice job. Step back plank. Could be worse. I could be making you do a lot of chaturanga. We're almost doing that. Good. Lower down slow, coming through knees first if you need. Good. Pointing the toes back behind you. Rise up, cobra. Good. And in the cobra that you're in, can you bring your weight onto your fingertips, or is that impossible? Yeah. Nice, you guys. Again, that wideness of the upper back. So the ribs draw in. And you lift the back of the throat, crown of the head higher. Nice, nice, nice. Good, Sarah. Good, Calliope. Nice, Andy. And then release, please. Press back up to hands and knees. Good. Right arm comes out wide to the right. Slide that arm behind the left wrist. Right shoulder finds the floor. Walk the left arm forward. Thread the needle. Nice, you guys. Pressing into your shins. Good. Pressing into that right forearm, that right shoulder, so that there's not that kind of passive, I'm just dropping everything into that arm, but I'm actually pushing into it so I keep my right side body awake. Good. Nice, Marla. And then walk yourself back up to center, please. Go the other way. Take the left arm out and wide. Slide behind the right wrist. Right arm walks forward. Nice. And so it's always fun when you take anything yogic teachings from the Bhagavad Gita, because the story for that is set on a battlefield, right? And it's set with our hero basically fighting individuals who are his family, but they're family who have tried to murder him for years and years and years. So you think, right, what does he owe those people? Nothing. And yet, what he's asked to do is not for just his benefit. What he's asked to do is to create a world where there is peace for everyone. And in those circumstances, it means that he has to stop the action of his family that's been creating devastation. But he's asked to do it in a way that says, don't hate them. Just do what you have to do to create a world where no one has to suffer. And I know it's uncomfortable for you. Walk yourself back up, right? The selfless action. Do it because you deserve it. And if you deserve it, it means that I'm acknowledging that I deserve it too. That's the trick, seeing yourself in the other in you. Good. Walk your fingers forward, please. So you're like in a modified down dog. Yeah, hips stay on top of the knees or in line with the knees. Good. And then keep walking the fingertips forward a little more. Press into your shins. Yeah. And then drag back on your fingertips or on your hands. So again, you're pulling those armpits towards your hips. Good. And then you're starting to lift your collarbones just a little bit more, like you're coming into a little back bend. Good. But you're dragging back on your hands and you're keeping your low ribs in and you're keeping your low belly in. Good. And you're dropping the heart towards the floor just a little bit because you're lifting your collarbones. Good. And then you're walking the hands forward a little bit more. Good. Keep the low belly lifted as much as you can as you drop that heart towards the floor, and keep your armpits engaged. And just keep doing that, letting the weight of your ribs drop a little bit lower as the arms and the armpits stretch and stretch and stretch. Good. And maybe eventually the front of your chest, you can lift your collarbones up so much that they drop down to the floor, that the front of your chest drops to the floor. Good. That's not happening. Don't worry. Just keep the stretch, the stretch, the stretch. Long, long, long. Nice. And then slowly walk yourself back up, please. Beautiful, you guys. The idea there is not to reach the floor. The idea there is to just get into that feeling of extension and release, extension and release. Bring your hands back up to your hips, please. Yep, so you're in a high kneeling position. Stretch your right leg out wide to the right. Good, heel in line with the opposite knee. Stretch your arms out wide. And then slide the right hand down the right thigh. Left arm comes over the ear. Good. And again, you're opening that left rib cage a little more, left armpit open to the sky a little more. Good. And keeping that left arm where it is, take the right arm up off of your thigh so it crisscrosses the arm. So instead of under your ear, reach it straight out from your chest. That's it. Yeah, so don't crisscross the wrist, but the left arm is over the ear, the other arm is straight out from the chest. There you go. Yeah, and then use that as energy to twist a little deeper. Turn that left armpit open. Good. Nice, you guys. And then bring it all the way back up to center, please. Nice job. Reach the left arm straight out and down to the floor. Right arm comes over the ear. So same position, you're just reaching to the other side. Good. Nice, you guys. Again, drawing the shoulders wide away from the ears. Awesome. And then come all the way back up. Nice job. Release the hands back to the hips. Please switch sides. So bring the right knee underneath the right hip. Take your left leg out wide to the left. Heel in line with the opposite knee, arms wide. Take the left arm down the left leg. Take the right arm over the ear. Good. So again, stretching the whole side body. Yeah, so you're not just leaning to your left side, but you're actually stretching that whole right side. So pull that right rib cage open, open, open. Try and keep almost your right shoulder in line with your right hip, even though you're leaning. Good. And then keep that right arm where it is over the ear. Take your left arm up and extend it straight out from the chest. So your arms are doing that kind of crisscross action, the crisscross reaching. Good. And so you're still leaning deep over that left leg. That's it. Nice, you guys. Open the heart to the sky, throat back, Calliope. Nice. And then bring it all the way back to center, arms wide, letter T. Bring your right arm out and down to the floor or block, left arm over the ear. Good. So now you're stretching the other side body. Careful that you don't just pop your ribs forward here because it's going to feel good to do that. So draw your rib cage in, open the armpit more. So you're actually twisting through the trunk a little bit. That's it. Good, Lisa. Nice, Andy. Good, Susan. And then bring it all the way back up to center, please. Good. And then come back to hands and knees. So both knees to the floor. Bring your hands to the floor. Downward facing dog. Good. Right leg up and back down, dog split. Good. Extend out through that heel. Pull the way into the hips, into the feet. Good. And then step the right foot forward between the hands. Nice. Back heel comes flat. Baby toe parallels the back of your mat. Cartwheel the arms up, warrior two. Good. So warrior two, Elizabeth. Back knee is lifted. Hips to the side, arms wide. This way. There you go. And then just turn your ribs to the side. To the left. There you go. Arms wide. Letter T. There you go. Yep. Yeah, and I don't have my model here. If you don't know what I'm talking about, I have to use a lot more words. Good. Drop the left hand down the back thigh, right palm spins up and back, reverse warrior. Right? Even the way you choose to fight your battles, because sometimes that's what's in front of you. But not everything in your life is a battle. There's just a recognition of where there is wholeness and what is standing in the way of that wholeness. And it's not always the other person, right? It's just as much you. It always is you. Come back to the center. Straight in the front thigh. Good. Reach for triangle. Extend that right arm forward, right rib cage forward. Before you let that hand touch down, though, turn your left rib cage up towards the sky a little more. That's it. And then let that hand touch down. Good. Left arm reaches up. Nice. So the perfection in action. Can I fight my battles not so that I win, but so that the other person is freed? The other person is the one that wins. And I will win as a result. But if I'm looking for my own comfort, I'm looking for the success of my own desires at the expense of the bigger picture, so we'll all continue to suffer. So even if you're at war in your life, can you make every act a loving one? Good. Bend that right knee. Please take your left hand to your left hip. Gaze down towards the floor. Slide that right hand forward beyond the toes of your front foot. And then step up Ardha Chandrasana. Left hip stacks on top of right. Good. Left toes turn to the side. So it's like you're doing triangle pose, but it's on its side now. Good. And then you're pushing into that right hand so that you have a lift through your right side body. Left arm comes to the sky when you've got it. Good. Nice, you guys. Feel as though the ankles are squeezing towards each other, but the inner thighs are pulling wide. Beautiful. And then if you'd like, bend that left knee, kick your heel back towards your butt, reach back for the foot or the ankle, or stay where you are. Maybe you kick the heel back and you don't reach back. Maybe you take your hand behind your head. Good, but open the ribs towards the sky. Awesome. Nice, Harriet. Nice, Alice. Good, Susan. You got it. Good, Elizabeth. Extend all the way back out. Good. Do not collapse. Find Ardha Chandrasana again. Scoop into your belly. Look down and take that left hand back down to the floor. Scoop your belly. Turn your left toes down. Come into standing split. I know, not a fun transition. And then left hand stays where it is on the floor or block. Right arm comes up to your right hip. Good. Pull that top of that hip and thigh back in space and then start to turn your belly to the right. Revolved Ardha Chandrasana. Good. When you've got it, right arm comes to the sky if you want. Maybe it stays at the hip. Good. Again, if you are pulling through the arm and your chest is not going with it, keep your hand at your hip and work your rib cage open more. So Calliope, hand back to your hip, open your ribs more. So work the shoulder open. Good, and then release that hand back down, you guys. Step back, nice long lunge. Drop the back knee, Anjaneyasana. Inhale, both arms to the sky. Big breath in. Good. And then release the hands down. Nice job. Scoot your hips back so your left hip comes on top of your left knee. Straighten the right leg, come up on the heel. Ardha Hanumanasana. Good, so the front leg is straight. Walk yourself forward towards that ankle, forward fold. Good, blocks under the hands are great, but blocks close to your ankle so that you are still extending your spine. Nice, you guys. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. May all beings be peaceful, be happy, be free from suffering, and may I dedicate my life to creating a world where that is true. So it's not just about, can I find it in my own life, but can I actively work to create a world where that is true for every being? So there's the little ways that make a big difference to me, and then there's the big ways. I can go above and beyond what my habit is. It doesn't have to be every day that you do that, but once in a while. If your mind is convinced you're too tired, do a little breath of fire and then start again. Right? When we get too tired because we are under too much of that feeling of overwhelm. And tradition tells us the answer is serve. Serve someone, something that is beyond yourself. You won't be so tired anymore. Good. Drag that heel back, please, bringing yourself back towards the lunge. Good. Lift your back knee up, step back, downward facing dog. So again, don't get lazy in your transitions. Your transitions are what help make your practice, what make your physical practice go more smoothly, because the more you are aware as you are transitioning from pose to pose, is those actions make the actual postures easier because you're working those transition muscles. Good. Left leg up and back, down dog split. Good. So we don't only want to be working in the postures. Everything that we do is part of the practice. Step that left foot forward between the hands. Good. Back heel comes flat. Baby toe parallels back of your mat. Cartwheel the arms up, warrior two. Good. So again, ribs turn to the side. Arms are wide. Letter T. So Elizabeth, turn your ribs open to the side. Yeah, towards your right, other way. Towards the right. There you go. Perfect. Good, you guys. Drop the right hand down the back thigh. Left palm spins up and back. Reverse warrior. Good. Keep that front knee moving forward over the front ankle. Squeeze your feet towards each other, but feel that pull of the inner thighs, like you're widening your legs. Good. And then bring it back up to center, please. Arms wide. Start to straighten the front thigh, keeping that knee pointing towards the second toe. So don't let it wiggle in. Don't let it roll in. Good. And then reach for triangle. Extend the left rib cage forward. Pause before you touch down. Open your right rib cage towards the sky a little more. Twist open. Good. And then let that hand touch down, right arm to the sky. And again, wherever the left hand reaches is totally fine. It can be on the leg, it can be on a block, it can be on the floor. But if you're reaching for the floor and your chest is collapsing forward, maybe consider using a block or using whatever you can put under you so that you have more lift. Nice, Marla. Good, both of my Susans. As I realize there are two of you. Good, ribs in. So Harriet, bring the ribs in. There you go. That's it. Good, you guys. Right hand comes to your right hip. Gaze down towards the floor. Bend your left knee. Slide your left hand forward. Come into Ardha Chandrasana. Again, block underneath the hand is great. Calliope, watch the toes of that standing leg that they're not turning in. There you go. Good, you guys. And then again, like you have the ankles are squeezing towards each other. So there's a power to your legs, even though that right leg is lifted off the floor. Good. And then when you've got it, right arm to the sky, again, you're turning the ribs open to the sky. So this is the exact same position as triangle. You're just balancing on one leg. It's the exact same thing. So you got to open the ribs. Good. Lift that inner thigh. Yes. Ribs in. Good, you guys. And then go ahead and bend the top knee. So right knee bends, kick your heel back towards your butt, reach back for the foot or the ankle if you'd like. Or again, maybe you just stay where you are. Because whether you do the pose in this way or that way makes no difference, right? What matters is what is your relationship with your body, your mind, your world as you are doing this posture. And why are you doing it? Extend that leg all the way back out, please. Right? Even your asana, selfless action. So the body is happy, not just your mind. And then step all the way back. Actually, don't step back, sorry. Bring that right hand to the floor, scoop your belly, turn your toes down, come into standing split. Good. Nice job. And then right hand plants underneath that right shoulder. Left hand comes to your left hip. Pull back on the top of that left thigh. Good. And then start to turn your ribs open, turn your belly open to the left. Good. Still pulling your hips back. Nice, nice, nice. And again, maybe that's as far as you go because that's what is meaningful, that twist. And maybe you take your left arm straight up to the sky. Good. And again, if your arm is reaching, but your shoulder is not going with it, keep your hand at the hip and just really work the spine open. Awesome. Really good. And then release that left hand down. Good. Step all the way back. Nice long lunge. Drop the back knee. Anjaneyasana. Inhale the arms up to the sky. Anjaneyasana is a pose of prayer, devotion. So reach. Don't let it be a heavy pose. It's an uplifting pose. That's it. Really good, Elizabeth. And then release the hands down to the floor. Good. Shift your right hip back so it's in line with your right knee. Wiggle your left leg forward to straight. Come up on the heel. Ardha Hanumanasana. Good. Dig that heel down and drag back so there's energy at the back of the leg, not just weight. And then walk the hands forward. Good. Tilting from the pelvis. So you're still trying to send your sit bones back and wide. Top of the pelvis moves forward towards your thighs. And then relax the upper back. Good. Tense shoulders are not going to make your hamstrings open any faster. Nice, you guys. Good. It is a hard reality shift in our mind to think that this body and this mind is already coming from a place of perfection. And if we use our practice just as a way of saying, I'm going to improve upon myself, and there's some imaginary point where you're going to reach that perfection, but you have no idea what it is. It's hard to make the sum of your thoughts add up to perfection. But you can reach for where the perfection already is. And then you're translating it into the life that you have. So yoga says that's what we're doing, is we're seeking, that inward seeking is for where is the wholeness in me already? And how can I translate that into the life that I have that sometimes looks like it's crazy, that sometimes looks like I'm at war? And can I be at war in that warrior mode and still be creating a world that is peaceful? For you, because you deserve it. And in the same way for me, because I deserve it too. Good. Walk yourself back in, drag that heel back into the lunge, and then lift the back knee up, step back, downward facing dog. Good. Really good, you guys. Slide forward to plank pose, upward push up. All right, one real chaturanga. So if the knees need to come to the floor here as a modified chaturanga, that's fine. But chaturanga means we're lowering down to halfway where the elbows are parallel to the floor and pausing. So lower down from plank or knees on the floor, pause, and then press back up. That's the trick. It's not, full chaturanga unless you can come back up. Good, and then lower all the way down to the floor slow. You can pause through that chaturanga again if you want. Nice, and then all the way to your belly. Beautiful. Point the toes back, stretch the arms back, reaching towards the feet. Locust pose, so floating the legs up off the floor, both legs. Lift head, neck, and chest, float the arms up as well. Good, long throat. Again, there's a pulling forward of the armpit, so even though the arms are reaching back, your armpits are pulling forward. Nice. And then bend both knees, kick your heels in, reach your arms higher like you're gonna reach for your ankles. Good, reach your thighs higher like you intend to reach them up towards the sky. Reach your heart higher, again, like you intend to take your arms higher to reach for your ankles. Keep working that upward bow, but you don't need your ankles to do it. Lift your thighs, lift your chest. Yeah, and then release back down. Nicely done, you guys. Good, pause, forehead to the floor, make a pillow with your hands if you'd like. If your lower back was not thrilled with that position, you can go ahead and bend your knees and do a little windshield wipering of your shins. Good. Yeah, we talk about stretching the lower back all the time. We don't always talk about strengthening it. Yeah. And then let yourself come to stillness, please. Breathe into the back body. What would it mean in your own personal way to create a world where no one has to wish for peace because it's just the reality? Maybe no one will ever know the part that you played in it. But if you're touching that wholeness inside us, you don't need them to know. Because if you're touching that wholeness inside, then how could you act in any way that would intentionally create suffering for another? Right? That's what we're given with these teachings. It's the opportunity to discover the way to be in yourself as you are, but to respond to the world in a way where it would be impossible for you to intentionally create harm, because you're holding that wholeness of yourself and the other. So we give away our personal desires, not because they don't matter, but because they are part of what creates our own suffering. So can you go beyond yourself, whatever you believe to be the way you are already doing these teachings, embodying these teachings? Plant the hands, please. Actually, don't, you don't have to plant the hands. Just roll over onto your back. I changed my mind. Lucky you. Lucky you, lucky you. Good. Bring the right ankle on top of the left thigh, please. Lift your left shin parallel to the floor. Reach through to hold that thigh. Good, flexing the feet. Nice. So Calliope, switch your legs. Bring the right ankle on top of the left thigh. There you go. Good. And you're pressing that thigh back against your hand so you have a little bit of that resistance, bringing your lower back more anchored to the floor. Good. Whatever you do or don't do is not as significant as how you are doing it. Good. So release that hold on your left thigh, please. Reach for your right shin. So left hand to left foot, right hand to right knee. Yep, there you go. So you're gonna bring your shin up towards your chest, extend your left leg down to the floor. So it's like you're in pigeon, but on your back. Good. Yeah. So lifting the shin up towards your chest a little bit more. Again, left leg extends on the floor. Good. Let the right knee stay wide. Foot is flexed, and work the very top of that right thigh away from your low belly. That's it. Good. So the shin is still lifting up, but the top of that right thigh is lifting up off of the belly. Good. And drawing down towards your left heel. Nice, you guys. Beautiful. And then take that right foot into your right hand. So right hand holds the baby toe side of your foot, arm inside the knee. Good. Take it out towards half happy baby. So stacking the heel on top of the knee, left leg is still straight on the floor. If you have your knee bent, that's okay. But you're making the choice that either your knee is completely bent with your foot flat or your leg is extended and you're working that thigh down towards the floor. Good. And then still holding that right foot, please start to extend that leg towards straight. Good. So it's going to stay at an angle, so don't change the angle. Just let the leg start to come straight. Good. Keep that feeling of hugging your shin slightly in towards the midline. So you still have that rotation, top of the thigh rotating wide. Good. And then bend the knee again, back to half happy baby. Beautiful. And then hug that knee straight in towards your chest, squeeze. Good. And then release it down to the floor. Bend both knees again, left ankle on top of right thigh. Lift your right shin parallel, reach through to hold. Perfection in action. It doesn't mean doing everything perfectly, but it means you start every action from that recognition of wholeness. That there's nothing that you're going to do that's going to improve upon you or another. Absolutely, you can clear out and organize the activity of your mind, but you're not improving the self. The self is already complete. You're just moving the furniture until you can feel that completeness as yourself. But if you start from there, then how could any action you take be anything except loving? Not liking, but loving. So you can fight a war, as Arjuna does in the Bhagavad Gita. You can fight a war and still do it in a peaceful way. A way that says this is not about me versus you. It's about creating a world where none of us have to suffer. So now is a good time. Think about going above and beyond what you usually do, what's easy to do, and what more is there in you. Good. Reach for that left shin, please. Right hand to the baby toe side, left hand to your knee. Bring that shin up towards the chest. Extend the right leg down to the floor. Good. So either the straight leg or, again, if the hips really benefit from that right knee staying bent, you can do that. Just plant the foot. But like you're in pigeon on your back. So lift that shin towards your chest a little more. And then the top of your left thigh is moving away from your belly. Good. So you're making space at the top of the hip first, and then as that shin comes up towards your chest, you're really working that rotation of the thigh bone in the hip socket. Good. So knee goes really wide, heel crosses the body. Flex your foot. Nice. Nice, Marla. Looks good. Good, Susan. Good, you guys. And then hand that left foot into your left hand, holding the baby toe edge of the foot. Elbow is inside the knee. Come into half happy baby. So the knee goes outside your armpit or just on the outside of your ribs. Heel should be slightly in. So your knee should be the widest part of the pose. And you're keeping that right thigh rooted down to the floor. Good. Yeah, and then without changing the angle at all, holding the foot or the ankle, wherever you're holding, start to straighten that left leg. So it's coming into almost like a split on your back, but the leg's coming over the shoulder. Good. Trying to keep that wideness of the inner knee, but the hugging in of the shin. Awesome. Bend the knee again, back to half happy baby. Good. And then bring that knee all the way back in towards your chest, squeeze it in. Nice. And then bring the right knee in with it, both knees in. You got it. Come into full happy baby, drawing the knees wide, reaching for the ankles or the feet. Good. And again, both inner knees have to press a little wider and the heels come slightly in, the shins come slightly in. Keep your low back rooted to the floor. Good. Nice, you guys. And then start to play a little bit with bringing the elbows inside the knees, lift your shoulders up off the floor and start to wiggle your shoulders to the inside of your knees, wrapping the arms around your calves. So like you're gonna hook your shoulders, hook your knees up over your shoulders. Good. Yeah, and if you're like, I know that's impossible, I don't care, play anyway. Roll around, see what happens when you start to just move the shoulders, move the knees. Good. Again, all of the lifting of the shoulders is from that low belly energy or from that mid belly energy. It's not your neck. Really good. Nice, you guys. And then when you've gotten to where you've gotten, start to relax everything back to the floor. So as your shoulders come down, maybe you're going to bring your knees with you. Yes. Really good. Yeah, one day the feet will cross at the back of your head. One day. And then slowly unwind that, hug your knees in towards your chest, please. Good. Cross your right thigh on top of your left. Separate your feet, reach for your ankles or your shins. Do the opposite hip action, internal rotation, where you just did a lot of external rotation. Good. You are already perfection in action. If you're only viewing the actions as the sum or trying to take the actions and the thoughts and create that wholeness from that, you're going to fall short. Yoga says you can't do it. You can't go backwards from looking at everything that you've done and say it's going to add up to that wholeness. It doesn't work. Switch the legs, please. Take the left leg on top. So we do that inner seeking to find a place of wholeness, a concept of wholeness inside of us to start with. And even if it's hard to find, we try to act in a way where we are reaching not for our personal desires because we think that's going to improve upon ourselves, but for that bigger picture that says, I'm a part of perfection. I'm a part of wholeness. And even if I don't understand completely, you can still act with a desire for that to be the reality, that you are whole and I am whole and we're sharing a peaceful place. So I want it for you, not just for me. Unwind the legs, please. Bring the knees all the way in towards the chest. Bring your forehead up to meet your knees. Good. And then release the shoulders back, please. Plant your feet. So this is my suggestion, is to separate the feet wide, drop the knees to the right for your final spinal twist. Right ankle can come on top of left thigh. If you have a different version of a spinal twist you'd rather do, feel free to do that. Good. Going above and beyond what is the easy way that you have integrated peace into your life. Instead, how can the desire for peace start to transform the way that you live your life? Come back to center, please. Taking your twist to the other side. So if you're doing the twist that I'm suggesting, you're bringing your feet back to flat, dropping the knees to the left, left ankle on top of right thigh. Again, that's an option. If having the foot on top of the knee does not feel good for the knee, step it down. Good. Every posture, every teaching is not for the self-improvement. It's only for you to have an awareness of that inner completeness that's already there and to make the body happy. which is not always in line with what your mind thinks the body should do. Can you practice so that your body is happy? So that you have a peaceful place for your mind to live. Come back to center, please. Good. Stretching the legs out in front of you, arms up alongside the ears. Take a full body stretch, reach all directions. Good. And then release everything, letting the feet drop open, arms alongside you, palms up. And breathe deeply. And Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu. May all beings be happy, be peaceful, be free from suffering. May my life be dedicated to creating a world where that is the reality. Very gently bring the awareness back to your breath. Letting the body begin to stretch, move in whatever ways serve it well. And as you're ready, draw the knees in towards your chest and roll to your right side. And take a moment there before you begin to push the floor away to come back up to an upright seated position. Bringing the hands together in front of the heart center, palm to palm, or whatever mudra has been serving you well. Right, we have a remembrance that when it feels like we're so busy, our mind is so engaged in other things that we can't possibly add something else to our day. And you say, whatever it is that I'm doing right now, it has to be enough because I can't focus on anything else. When we start to get tired that way, it's even more important to say, that's the moment I can go above and beyond, because that's the moment I push past the limits of my mind that says that you're too tired, right? That this is all you've got. So there's a point where there's this deep place of generosity. There's this deep place of love. There's this deep place of energy that is tireless. That's the self. And so it doesn't mean that every day you have to exhaust your efforts trying to make things different. That's the mind's way of doing it. The selfless act, right? The perfection in action is knowing that you come from that tireless wholeness, that no matter what you do or don't do, however you do it, whatever the action is, if you are coming from that place, it will create that world that is peaceful, because it's no longer getting caught up in the mind saying it should be this way, that way, this way, that way. So that's what we're practicing for. That you already are perfection in action. So can you take that place of wholeness and let it be the root of everything that you do in the world, so that everything that you do in the world becomes an act of love, even if you're in the middle of a war. So make your practice one where you, in a very personal way, embody these ideas more powerfully. Don't let it be just part of the routine and you're too tired to do it anymore. Every now and then, push past that. The mind gets tired. The soul never does. We'll close with the sound of Om. Deep breath in. Sliding the thumbs up to the space between the eyebrows. Namaste, everybody. Thank you guys so much. Have a great rest of your day, great rest of your weekend. Heads up, tomorrow I am subbing for Linda's yin class at 8 a.m. So if you want to come, you can do a double. You can do yin at 8, and then you can do a regular class with me at 9:30, and then stay for meditation. I've got your whole morning planned. So